Good morning. My name is Cheryl Stevens, and this is my podcast post for Back to Living. There's Life After Loss. Today is a difficult discussion for me for many different reasons. I want to discuss guilt and the guilt we're left with, and my experience was a little bit different. And it's going to be hard to get through. But first, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. I want to welcome the guests are returning and welcome new guests. I'm glad you're here. If you know of someone that is going through a loss of a spouse, I would welcome you sharing this so they can listen or even be interviewed. But let's talk about guilt. There's so many different types of guilt you can be left with. I'm here. Why am I left here? Why wasn't it me, especially if there was an accident or something? Why me? Why am I left here? I didn't really go through that type of guilt. My guilt was more, what did I do? What could I have done differently? Was I wrong? The last week before my husband passed away was a rough week. He had fought cancer for 6 years. We'd been told 2 months before that there was no more treatments for him, no trials. It just couldn't do anything else for him. It had taken over. It was not a good sight. We had hospice come in, and originally it was for just medication management, things like that. But it got to a point that he would fall and he hurt himself. I'd have to call the fire department to come pick him up. It was just a rough week. So they changed his medications to help keep him relaxed, so he would try to not keep getting up out of bed and hurting himself. And he didn't want it. I saw the look on his face, and it looked like betrayal, and that hurt. But I was going off of what the doctors and the nurses said, and they said this was the best thing for him because he was in terrible, terrible pain. And that guilt I felt was, what did I do? Should I have done this? I could see the look on his face, and it still hurts. I don't think I'll ever be able to forget that. It's just, you know, I've tried to work through this the last 2.5 years. I've talked to people about it. And everyone says the same thing. You know, you didn't do anything wrong. But that look on his face, I can't forget it. That look of betrayal. And then the guilt of, could I have done something different? They said that the pain medications he was on probably, it had destroyed his liver. His body was accumulating them instead of expelling them after, like it was supposed to. It was just building up and building up and building up. That with the probability, we didn't have it tested, but the cancer had moved to his brain. So it wasn't him, his body, but it just wasn't the same. So that's the guilt I was left with, and I'm trying to work through. You know, talking to the doctors and the nurses and everyone else, it was the cancer that caused this. It was the pain medicines that caused that last week of his look and his betrayal. He did not know a lot of what was going on that last week because of what he would say. It wasn't him. He would say things that didn't make sense, like sentences were not right. So know that there is different types of guilt, and the one thing I keep coming back to that I want all of you to know, the one thing I keep coming back to is our days are numbered. Only God knows how long we're going to be here. And once our purpose that He put us here is finished, we go home. I'm still here. It was my husband's time to go, as hard as that is. I would love to have him here still, because I miss him dearly. But I'm still here. I'm still working through the guilt, still working through the grief. Sometimes are tougher than others. Just the aloneness of this house. He grew up in this house. He'd been here since he was about a year, 2 years old. So just the memories that are here, and it's just, the house is empty, if you know what I mean. Especially in the evenings. But that guilt feeling, I hope that goes away. I keep praying that goes away. I know it's Satan trying to bring it back up, and I've turned it over to the Lord. It's not haunting me like it used to. For the first year, it haunted me terribly. So I'm getting through that. But I wanted to give you a little bit of hope that you're still here. Things happened like they were supposed to. God's in control. He's the one that has written this, everyone's story. So let go of it. I know I should do what I'm saying. Let go of it. Turn it over to God. Know that the guilt shouldn't haunt you. You may feel it, but feel it and then let go of it, because there's nothing we can do. It's done, and we have to trust what the doctors and nurses tell us and follow their direction. It's not my specialty. It wasn't. But we're still here. Keep coming back to that. We're still here. Our purpose is not finished. We still have something to do. I'm learning that very fast, that I'm being put in different arenas that I never thought I would be put in my life. So I know God's got something big in store. I'm not sure what it is. I'm going to keep trusting. I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to keep finding a way to push that guilt back and back and back as far as I can. Because I know it's not my fault. I know there's nothing else I could have done. He was in severe pain. That's the one thing I remember after he passes, the look of peace on his face. And I remember saying, I knew he was in pain, but I didn't know how much till it wasn't there. So go back, dig back, and find that little memory of what they were like, and remember that. Remember, it's not your fault. There's nothing you could have done. It's God's timing, God's plan. And as much as I don't like it, God's in charge. There's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing I could have done about it. So, with that, I'm going to leave you. Again, this is Cheryl Stevens with Back to Living, There's Life After Loss. You can find me on Instagram, iTunes, I am on Instagram under Champagne Beauty by Cheryl, on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, most of the podcast platforms I am on. So if you know of someone that would love to talk to me on camera, anyone that's lost someone that can help someone else, that has a word for someone else, I would love to talk to them. So have them reach out to me. My Facebook page is Champagne Beauty by Cheryl. Message me, email me. I pray for you, and I know loss hurts. That's why I'm doing this, to try to help me through it. And if I can help one person get rid of that guilt or that feeling, then I've done my job. So again, this is Cheryl Stevens with Back to Living, There's Life After Loss, and I look forward to you joining me next week. Thank you, and God bless.